Thanks very much, Simon, for presenting at this week's Coffee Talk. I'll hand it over to you on exploring the role of digital technology can play in guiding middle managers to self-regulated and mitigated workplace stress. So thanks, Simon. I'll hand it over to you.
Thanks, Carol. And thanks everyone for dialing in on your lunch break to hear me talk about my research. I'm Simon Hanratty. I'm second year PhD student here at Maynooth University, supervised by Dr. Jean Cushion from the School of Business and Professor Marcus Helford from the IVI. And my research is supported by LERO. I am currently on career break to pursue the PhD full-time. I was formerly a CIO in the industry with Irish Life. I'm enjoying the switch to academic life so far, I must say. So occupational burnout is a prominent issue and it has significant implications for individuals and organizations. Burnout results from prolonged exposure to job stress, and reported levels have been on the rise, with more than 40% of employees worldwide now reporting high levels of job stress and feeling burned out. Interestingly, those numbers rose during the pandemic, but have stayed at elevated levels since. Job demands and resources, or JDR theory, is the long-standing preeminent theory which explains job stress and burnout. The JDR model shows the complex and multifaceted nature of the dynamics at play, identifies separate characteristics of a job, demands and resources, and the challenge is to keep demands and resources in balance. What happens is that when employees are continuously exposed to high job demands and active job resources, under increased strain, experience stress, and are at risk of burnout. Now, while working conditions impact employees can also actively influence their own working conditions. And JDR theory was more recently extended to explain that when faced with increased job strain, employees are more likely to use what are called maladaptive self-regulation strategies, such as coping inflexibility and self-undermining, rather than adaptive ones such as recovery and job crafting. In other words, stressed employees don't do the right things, and this creates a loss spiral of strain that can lead to burnout. I call this the burnout vortex. Literature shows that middle managers can be particularly susceptible to stress as they're coming under increased pressure to do more with less. And that can lead to kind of contradictions in performance and perceived roles. In addition, middle managers have a degree of decision-making and job crafting autonomy. And this makes them an ideal sample for this study. Digital behavior change intervention offers the potential to assist middle managers with workplace stress management. Research shows that digital interventions can be effective, but that they need to be purposeful and persuasive, provide affordance, be personalized, engaging, and use technology effectively. To achieve that, job stress interventions need to be able to recognize the complex dynamics that are in play with the JDR model. This raises interesting questions regarding the role digital technology can play in helping middle managers recognize what are sometimes obscure sources of stress levels, maladaptive behaviors, and appropriate self-regulation strategies. And this is the focus of my research. Prior digital interventions for stress have been singular in nature. And so what we need and what this study will provide is the exploration of a new type of digital intervention.
Ingrid, did you have lunch?
The tool is the data within the user's collaboration technology environment to empower middle managers to recognize sources of stress and guide them to engage in a range of self-regulatory actions. The study will explore the efficacy, complexity, and perceived boundaries of this self-regulation over time. The main methodology for the research study is design science research. DSR is suited to solving complex real-world problems and using co-creative, iterative solution approaches, and it requires strong links to knowledge and the environment. Central to DSR is a focus on the design and evaluation of an artifact that solves a real-world problem. For this research, the artifact is an instantiated prototype version of a new digital intervention tool that helps middle managers to self-regulate and mitigate workplace stress. There are two qualitative streams to the research that will be carried out with an industry partner over a period of 12 months. First, a study of the organizational setting, which explores the organizational culture and climate and approaches and perceived benefits and limitations of well-being strategies that are in place at present. Second, there will be a user study to understand individual contexts, define the problem requirements, and explore the user's experience of the intervention. The steps in the DSR methodology are abstracted to 3 stages here, and showing how my research questions are included to address them. So I'm currently at the meta design stage of the methodology. I've carried out a systematic literature review and analysis of prior digital interventions for workplace stress in order to inform future designs, such as the one that's being carried out as part of this study. The review considered the purpose of the interventions that was intended, the self-regulatory strategies that were targeted by the interventions, and the level of adherence to persuasive technology principles, which we can consider to be best practice for digital behavior change intervention. The findings suggest an opportunity to explore this new type of digital intervention, targeting some previously under-investigated areas more holistically. Existing interventions have trodden a somewhat familiar path, targeting training rather than enablement as their purpose, and they've focused exclusively on self-regulatory strategies of coping flexibility and recovery over those of job crafting and self-undermining. Thus, interventions have often been singular, possibly somewhat simplistic, and failed to give due consideration to the multifaceted nature of self-regulation and job crafting. In addition, I found low levels of implementation of persuasive technology principles, with the principle of social support particularly underrepresented. So the implications of this for the intervention design for this study are, firstly, the intervention should focus more on the user in addition to education and training. In practice, this means that the intervention should afford the user with features that assist with carrying out actions that deliver improved self-regulatory outcomes. An example of this is time management. Second, the intervention can be more holistic and multifaceted in approach, taking job demands and resources into account by monitoring individual working patterns and embracing the full breadth of self-regulatory strategies that can be employed. And third, the intervention should more fully follow the principles of persuasive technology and be designed to be personalized and engaging and making effective use of technology. So this gives rise then to a number of design assumptions for the intervention. Firstly, the tool will analyze the data within the user's collaboration technology to identify sources of stress in a timely manner. Secondly, it will recommend appropriate self-regulatory actions for the user on a personalized basis. The tool will then assist the user in executing this range of recommended actions and monitor progress to completion. And it will use the collaboration technology user interface, for example, Microsoft Teams, to interact with the user in a way that is personalized and engaging. So that's where I'm at. So thank you for the opportunity to share research. I'd love to hear questions, ideas, either on the call or offline. And thanks again for dialing in over your lunch break. So, thank you. You're on mute there, Carol, if you're talking.
Apologies. Thanks, Simon, very much for the coffee talk there. That was very good and interesting. Good to hear the different research that's going on. Yeah, so I'll open, as you said, open to questions for Simon, for anyone online.
Simon, it's Paul here from IVI.
Hi, Paul.
Are you looking for volunteers?
it's interesting, Paul. I do think this is one study where recruiting participants may not be an issue. The truth is, many of us touch into this space from time to time, and sometimes worse than that. But right now, no, the participants will come from the industry partner. We'll have a sample of middle managers there, 30 people. And then we'll have a sample of organizational stakeholders who'll support the research from a kind of an input and giving views on the organizational climate as well. So right now, not looking for volunteers,
Okay.
but I'll bear you in mind if I come up short.
I mean, what would the likely outcomes be in terms of tools or methodologies to control stress? I know it's probably very early in what you're trying to do, but do you have any kind of concepts of what it might lead to?
Yeah. So the kind of the output, Paul, that I'd hope that we'd end up with is a tool that will sit there within your collaboration technology environment. So Microsoft 365 might be the one that many of us will be familiar with. And what it will do is, surface insights and prompt sensible actions at the right time, and then assess people to carry out with those actions. So it would become a sort of a seamless part of people's day-to-day activities. And there's a lot of data within that collaboration technology environment that can be used to sort of surface personalized insights about what's going on. So, for example, it could be somebody who's maybe lost control of their diary and they have back-to-back meetings or overlapping meetings, or spending lots of time outside hours to catch up. And what the tool can hopefully do is prompt them to take actions to address that at an early stage, and get on top of things, and not let them get into this burnout spiral further down the line. So that's what I'm kind of hoping for. But it's very much an exploratory study, Paul, as you said, and I'm still at an early stage. So part of the learning will be what works, what doesn't work, what are the kind of the boundaries and constraints of this type of tool. But it looks like there's a potential of something good to explore.
Okay, thanks.
Simon, you can use us as a focus group if you want to measure stress. Paul is also an organizational person, so you can use him also.
That's it. Well, it's definitely a research problem that resonates with people, Marianne, right? So hopefully we can do something to improve the outcomes.
You can start with us,
Mhm.
so you can expand your focus group.
Yeah, it is one of the. I mean, while the sample for the study is going to be the middle managers and the industry partner, it is a universal problem, right? So you'd hope that what comes out of it would be generalizable for sure.
Yeah.
Simon, what kind of organization you are targeting? I mean, SMEs or universities or any other?
Yeah. So it's an industry company. So it's a large Irish company, 3,000 employees. They're in the financial services space, but they have a range of kind of disciplines, and obviously they have people at different levels in the organization and in different teams doing different roles. So it's a good representative company, and it kind of has an employee base that gives the size that I can get a good sample to work with.
So in that case, SMEs can also use your developed model or output.
Yeah, I believe that most of what it'll be addressing are universal issues. So it should be possible to generalize it to different contexts like SMEs, academic environments. But for the purposes of the research and keeping the sample quite focused.
Thank you.
Carol, they're all good on questions. I think I've burnt them out.
Is there any more questions from anyone online? I think that's it, Simon. Thank you very much, Simon, for today again. So thank you for that. Just to mention, so our next Coffee Talk will be in 2 weeks' time. We'll have Mansoor Ahmed from Maynooth University here on Thursday, 25th of April. So we look forward to that, and thank you all for joining today. Any questions, feel free to get in touch with us here or with Simon, as he said. So thank you all very much for joining. Have a nice afternoon.